Welcome to the All in Red channel, conquering the game of life. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the All in Red Risk Strategies channel. And looks like green goes first. Green looks pretty well represented in Europe. He's calling for an alliance. I'll accept. I'll usually accept those early alliances because I never know when they'll pay off for me later down the road. Now green strikes easy down to Siam just to gain a card and to conserve his energy. Next is blue. Celeste Nelson. And Mr. Nelson invests in North Africa and strikes well into Brazil, not losing a single troop on the play. Strikes further, but loses 2 on that deal. Now, that's a bit risky for blue, going into an area where there's 5 orange. Now yellow. Yellow looks pretty well weighted in Australia, does plant there in eastern Australia. Strikes easy in New Guinea and only loses 1 troop, acquiring Indonesia. And right off the bat, yellow is nice and strong in the southeast corner, already acquiring a continent. Now orange, who starts off his turn with 4 troops for going in 4th place, and look at this, planting in South America against blue. So that may become a critical skirmish between orange and blue. Now it's my turn. And I start off my turn with 5 troops for going in last place. And I'm thinking about yellow here. I want to see if maybe I can hit into yellow here. So I'm just going to take individual roll strikes to see how far I go. This is to mitigate my risk. Well, see there, I lose 2. So I'm going to pause and try to strike elsewhere just to make sure I at least get a card. And now let me try again. See if my luck changes at all. No. Okay, so now I'm just going to hold it. I lost too many troops trying to hit into yellow. I don't want to be the only opponent trying to take yellow out of Australia, so I'm just going to retreat into Africa and keep an eye on things between orange and blue over here. Okay, green strikes me out of Great Britain. Okay, let's see what blue does. It seems as though orange invaded his space. And look at this, blue plants in Central America. Ouch! -5 for blue. Good defense by orange. Now, blue's in a bit of trouble here. Blows out another tire at Madagascar and finally hits into Western Europe. So blue will get at least 1 card out of the deal. So blue is now thinned out, only has 14 troops compared with everybody else who are in their 20s. Yellow plants in Siam to protect herself and barely gets off a victory, blowing down into Mongolia. Does have that 3 hanging out in Alaska, North America. Let's see if she'll take that out and fortify somewhere in Asia. She does bring her forces out of North America into Asia. And yellow is going to be a strong opponent right off the bat. Now look at orange coming down across eastern North America and now has a very heavy 6 in Brazil. Now I'm right there with 7 in North Africa, but I don't want to make any moves yet. I want to plant a little bit in Ontario in North America. My approach right now is just to keep an eye on things between orange and blue. So I want to take blue out of this corner here in Madagascar just to make it easier on me in case I'm able to take blue out of the game. And I might as well get that 3 out of Ukraine and Europe, otherwise green will consume me there. Ooh, green loses 2, taking me out of Ukraine. And let's see if green can do it now, take over Europe so early in the game. And, well, green gets a good strike down into Western Europe. And looks like green may be able to take over Europe. The question will be, will green maintain Europe? Now, I myself am not going to attack green in Europe because I want yellow to do it. Yellow is one of the strongest in the game. And I want 2 strong opponents going against each other. So by me not striking into green, that creates a little bit of tension, hopefully among the other opponents. Now blue and orange, see how blue invested in South America against orange again? That was quite risky. Why would you invest in an area where you're outweighed? Now blue does have the card advantage over orange. Notice how blue has 3 cards. So if blue happens to get a match before orange without getting knocked out of South America, blue potentially could strike orange out of South America, but would be quite risky. Now yellow does not tamper with green in Europe. So now green will start accumulating troops at a higher pace than everybody else. Now notice how orange is striking around me in North America, not through me. So by me putting 1 extra in Ontario, it created a little bit of a wedge for orange. So I like how orange struck around me and not through me. Blue only has 3 territories, so I'm going to try to position myself by placing a little bit more in Ontario and see if orange will take blue out of South America. And if so, then maybe I'll be in position to take blue out of North America and gain blue's cards. Green now starting his turn off with 8 troops. And green is going to be quite a heavy force in the central region. Now here comes blue again, investing yet again in South America. This time has a 10 troop to match, and look at this, orange may be in trouble here. Ow, it's for blue. Ow. A huge loss there for blue. Now, blue looks like he turned into a bot and gave up in the game, and I kind of don't blame him. What else can you do, folks? So, the thing for blue, though, is that what I would have done differently is I would have invested in North America and not South America against orange, where he was outweighed. If orange is flowing downward, your best shot is to invest your weight northern. And maybe he could have struck out here in Asia to mitigate his risk of being taken out of the game. But now, I mean, orange looks to be taking blue out of South America here. At least has enough troops to do so. And does. Now, orange did not leave any room to take blue out of North America. So I will. So I'm in good position to take blue out. 8 against 3. I lose 1 there in Alberta. And bam! Out goes another opponent. Okay, so I at least gain blue's card. So now I have 4 cards. I will have 5 cards after this turn, so I'll be guaranteed a match. And I like having at least some force up in North America. Looks like North America is pretty thinned out overall, so I have 6 troops up there, and those 6 troops may come in handy later down the road. So I also notice I have a bonus territory, Northwest Territory, for taking over blue. I happen to struck at the right spot there. That means if I can hold on to it my next round, I can turn in my match and get an additional 2 troops there in Northwest Territory. So that was another positive benefit of taking blue out. Good. Green gets an early turn in. And I thought would have hit into orange, but didn't. Struck up through North America instead, and now has us heavy weight in Western Europe. The heaviest weight of the game, right there smack in the middle of the board, can go in all kinds of directions, into orange, into me, into yellow even. Now orange plants 1 in Afghanistan. I suppose that's to mitigate his risk, making sure he has some weight elsewhere on the map other than being stuck down in the southwest corner. Now orange gets a lucky strike, and Asia gains a card. Now it's getting fairly well positioned in the southwest corner. I'm going to turn in my match. Now notice how I kept my wild card. I turned in the 3 horses. That's because I wanted to guarantee that I'll have a match my next round. And by me turning in the horses instead of the wild card guarantees me of another match. Whereas if I hadn't done that, it would have been a gamble. So notice how I plant some additional weight up in Northwest Territory. I want to start plugging it up there. I want to put a force on orange. So that way orange doesn't just think of North America as a sprawling space. Now I have some weight in Africa, some weight in North America, and I figured I'm pretty well balanced right now. I don't think anybody in particular is going to take me out of Africa. I'm not really a threat to anybody, and I try not to be, at least early in the game. I want to see others battling against each other if I can help it. So the way I normally do that is I try to pit my opponents against each other. Now look at yellow, heavy forces in India, coming across, now hitting green in Ukraine. So just like I was saying before, how I didn't hit green in Europe, and I wanted there eventually to be a conflict between yellow and green. So yellow really came through there, hit green in Europe, and now green is going to have to start thinking about yellow, since yellow tampered with him in his territory. Okay, green's turn again. Green retakes Ukraine. Now look at that, removing forces away from Iceland and now into Ukraine. So green is trusting me that I won't go into green. And that's because I've showed green once before that I was willing not to strike into Europe before. So green trusts me. Notice how green and I are allies. So he's trusting that I won't blow into him. Meanwhile, he can protect his border a little bit more against yellow. So you kind of see this pressure. Green is turning his barrels in this direction of the map, not in this direction. Kind of the same thing with orange. Notice how orange has most of his weight in Brazil, indicating that he's putting more pressure towards the east, not necessarily up north. I'm not really seen as a threat against orange right now because I don't have enough force to really take orange out of North America. I'm thinking now is I'm going to want to start investing more in North America than in Africa at this point. So I have a heavy 21 total. Notice the triangle. I have 7 on each corner of the triangle. I'm going to plan a few more. I'm going to just make it 10 in each area. Notice how strong that triangle is. Triangles are the strongest shape in nature, so I figured I should be pretty safe there in that northwest corner of North America. Meanwhile, I'm going to acquire Africa Yeah, it's almost like a temptation for orange to come across into the east. I want orange to start playing around with the other opponents and showing force. The more force orange can put on green and yellow, the more I can roam around up in North America. See, now look at green. Green hit into Middle East and then stayed in the Middle East, and now look at this. Green is putting full force towards the east. And now yellow gets a match. Doesn't really have any easy spots to strike. The easiest spot may be me in Alaska, of all places, but let's see if she'll get lucky. Now this is a pretty risky battle between yellow and me. Well, she gets a good strike there, only loses 5, but still, she's lost 5. And that's all while green is staring her down from the midsection of the map. So that's why it was risky. Why lose those 5 troops? I mean, probably the best move there for yellow would have been a no move. Conserve her troops and just play with only 1 card. But she decided to strike into me. She did gain a card, but had to lose 5 troops just to do that. Was it worth it? Now that kind of harmed me in North America, but I can easily reclaim Alaska, so I'm not too worried about it. This time I'm gonna plug yellow up even more in Alaska because yellow's been kind of striking erratically against her opponents like she did against green in Europe. So I want to really send a big signal to yellow not to come into North America again. So that's going to pin yellow more into Asia, which means hopefully yellow will put more pressure into green eventually. See, the only real spot yellow has to go is Afghanistan. So he plants in India. And then squanders her troops, losing 6. She could have hit here in Afghanistan to gain a card, but now she can't even do that. That's what I was saying about yellow. I mean, she's striking erratically into her opponents. That was an irrational strike into green from India. Now orange is starting to get a little more balance between Central America and Brazil. A nice posture in the game. Nice heavy posture. Orange knows I'm not going to immediately be able to strike into him in South America, so orange is pretty settled. Orange probably has the best position in the game so far. Now I'm thinking ahead and I'm thinking, okay, I just turned in a match here. I have 13 troops. Now would be a time to make a move out of Africa and into North America. Now I have to trample through some green in order to do it, but I figured, you know, green and I are allies. If he notices my movements to simply go up to North America, he may forgive me for invading into his territory. So there's a way of sending a signal in this game to say, I'm sorry, I have to attack your territory, so I'm going to do that towards green to let him know that I'm not trying to do it to be a meanie. I just simply want to relocate my weight. So that's out of Africa where it's vulnerable there against orange and into an area where there's more strength up in North America. I have better leverage up here than I do in Africa. But kind of a side benefit to that is I did trample over green. So green won't be able to easily reclaim Europe and get 8 troops his next round. So I limit green a little bit in that way because green is the heaviest of the game after all. So taking a strike into green I thought was well timed. Green doesn't seem to be maneuvering to attack into me in retaliation. Doesn't even attack into Africa, notice, see. So that shows kindness on green. So I gave him a thumbs up there, because that's green is showing to be a true ally, and he didn't take offense to what I did. So that's a good sign. So I relocated my troops into North America relatively unscathed. And now Africa is wide open for Orange to come out of Brazil. And I hope that's what Orange does here. Does get a match. And now Orange is seeing Africa as a better prospect. And let's see how he handles his troops here. Does plant heavy forces in Central America. He's about even. And does lose one on the blow into Africa, but I'd say this is a good thing for Orange to come out and show some pressure in the central part of the map. Otherwise, green might have taken over the entire central, getting all those territories, and really put the squeeze on the rest of us in the game. Now I'm going to try to put the squeeze on Orange in North America and tempt Orange to start striking more east towards green and yellow than towards me in North America. Eventually I'd like to take over North America, but I'm willing to be patient. So notice how I'm making it hard for Orange to advance any further up north in North America. I'm trying to create that pressure on my opponents. One thing I've learned in this game is to not do it alone. You want to use your alliances. You want to help force others to flow in the direction you want them to flow. And there's a way to do it in this game. And I'd say there's a way to do it in real life. How can you help direct the flows of others towards your advantage? See, now yellow, it's getting harder for yellow to really go anywhere. So it looks like yellow is just going to sit there with 0 cards, which may be a pretty smart strategy. It's going to take a lot of force to take yellow out of the game. I mean, green would practically have to go into yellow with full force in order to do so. Meanwhile, orange is advancing into Africa. Looks like he's just going to acquire Africa in one swoop. Orange must be figuring that green will play nice with him in Africa. Let's see if that shows to be true. Now, I'm not going to tamper with orange at all any further south in North America because I don't want to expose orange's 39 in Central America. So I do have some shooting room in the Kamchatka against yellow's one force there. So I'm starting my turn off with only 3 troops. So I want to leave at least enough in Alaska to strike into yellow with. I also want to put weight across the belt of North America, so that way orange will be even further blocked. So I put 1 in Alaska, the other 2 I'll put in Ontario. And I do lose 1, I barely pull off the victory there, but I do gain a card. That's all I needed. So now yellow has a territory to strike in Kamchatka. We'll gain a card. And notice how there is a pathway for yellow to strike into green from this way. I don't know if green's quite recognizing it yet, but we'll see if green protects himself in Iceland against incoming yellow. Now notice how orange is putting a lot more weight in Central America. Now has 48. And now it's going to be pretty hard for me to strike anybody. I don't really necessarily need to. I freshly turned in a match. I now have 0 cards. And I have to lay 13 troops down. So the way I'm thinking about this is, well, why attack anybody? If I attack into green, I'll make green mad. And then I'll throw the alliance off balance because that'll be the second time I attacked into green. And I don't want to cause that imbalance. I don't really want to strike into yellow in Kamchatka because I kind of invite an attack from yellow into green. I want to make that pathway easy for yellow by leaving Alaska, Northwest Territory, and Greenland wide open for yellow to just come across. So I'm just going to lay with 0 cards and end my turn. Now it's green's turn. Let's see if green does protect himself in Iceland. Now he plants out in Asia, strikes a easy spot, and does not protect himself in Iceland. Let's see if that proves to be a mistake. Now yellow wises up this time, does strike into Afghanistan to gain a card. Orange is starting his turn off with 9 troops. That's pretty good. It's like getting a match every time, and that's for holding on to 2 continents. Orange also has 13 territories, so he's getting 4 troops just for territories alone each turn. And then on top of that, holding on to 2 continents. So green is right there. I mean, green could always come into Africa, so let's see if that'll ever come to fruition. Meanwhile, I'm just going to continue investing in North America, holding on to 0 cards. That way nobody can even think about taking me out of the game. Why would they? Now here comes green and Middle East getting a match. Let's see which direction he goes into orange. Wow, now that is going to cause some tension between him and orange. Let's see if green will wrap around from the south into the north into North Africa and take orange out of Africa entirely. He does. Gets a good smack in the orange in North Africa, and yes, I would definitely have orange in Brazil if I was green at this point. Now, I created that tension because I have Northwest Territory plugged up. Orange can't just go beyond me real easily. So green saw a way of hitting into orange safely because he knew that orange couldn't attack him up in Iceland. Now he didn't think about yellow. Yellow's planting in Kamchatka, going into Alaska, and look at this. Yellow has a very easy route to hit into green after all. It looks like yellow's going to take advantage of that mistake by green. Now yellow could go all the way down and also attack green down in Africa. Let's see if she'll do it. Well, that was kind of a useless strike into Scandinavia if her goal was to do so. She's striking all around Europe, but not leaving enough weight really to attack into Africa. Will she may be able to do it? No. To me, that was like squandering her energy. She could have struck into green in Africa and limited green even more, but she didn't. She kept investing her strikes into meaningless spaces. So look at now, orange put all of his weight against green in Venezuela, and now that leaves me a little room to start gaining territories in North America. So I will. I'll strike all around and at least gain what I can. Now I don't want to expose orange's 56 in Venezuela, so I'll leave Central America alone. But I will take over those cheap territories that I see all around in North America. I'm like an Oklahoma Sooner at this point. Just free territory, easy takeover, and it seems like a pretty nice land to settle in. And I'll keep my borders protected in Greenland and Alaska, and I'll put a lot of pressure downward as well. So that way, if orange does get into a fight with green and loses a bunch of troops, then I can be there to easily acquire North America. I'm a little worried to do so right yet because I don't want to expose orange's 56. Green looks like he's about ready to reclaim Europe. Ooh, but doesn't. Look at that. Green pulls out of Brazil, offering orange an olive branch. Let's see if orange will play nice with green and just simply hang out in South America to regain strength. Meanwhile, it's yellow's turn, and yellow had that one area in Iceland to strike from, so C got lucky and was able to hold on to that last territory. Now C can strike and gain a card. So now C has 4 cards. And a very heavy 66 in Siam. It's going to be very hard to tamper with yellow at this point. Now here comes orange. Orange does it and blasts into green in North Africa. Ouch for green. So that takes a lot of weight away from green. Now green only has 56 troops. Orange has a lower amount, but orange is in decent position there in Brazil, at least. And now I feel as though it's safe to take over North America now. I have a very heavy 41 in Central America to kind of keep an eye on things with orange. I could try to take orange out of the game, but I also want orange to continue putting pressure on green in the central. So now it's yellow's turn. He just freshly turned in a match. India is glowing, has 20 in India. Ooh, so looks like she's going to try after green here. Gets a good shot. Wow. So yellow should be able to very easily strike into green in Europe, and green is just getting blasted from all over, from both orange and yellow. So see how I created tension there? And I indirectly made all this happen by simply sitting still in North America while putting pressure on orange, and also allowing an open gate for yellow to come across and hit green up, through Alaska, Northwest Territory, and Greenland. So all that started tension, and now all this tension is paying off as orange is starting to sprawl across Africa. Orange may try to reacquire that continent and hope that orange doesn't get tampered with. Orange may have found that right political chord to strike to hold on to both continents. We'll see. Meanwhile, I want to continue creating tension by not striking yellow into Asia. I don't want to be the one who does it. I want either orange or green to do it. So I'm going to strike into green rather than into yellow. Okay, notice how Iceland is a bonus territory 2 for me. So now I want to mitigate my risk of being tampered with by green by putting very heavy force in Iceland. I figured I have excess troops from Central America. I don't think orange is going to hit into me. Orange and I are allies, and I played nice with orange, so I'm trusting in orange at this point. So I'm going to try to use that alliance with orange to protect myself in Iceland. Now here comes green. Now green did not attack into yellow, decided to attack into me instead. Took 39 of my troops away. Ouch. Good thing I had enough weight there. So just like in real life, do you have enough weight to absorb the blows in life? Because they're sure to come. Now I plan ahead there because I kind of figured, well, there is a risk of green hitting into me in Iceland, so I better put enough weight up there just in case. And sure enough, green did go for me. And that's what happens a lot in this game, those unexpected things. Like I wouldn't have expected green to attack me. I would have expected green to attack into yellow, who was tampering with him earlier. So after green will be yellow. I have a feeling yellow's going to take green out of the game, and yellow held on to Asia, so which means yellow's going to get a lot of troops her next turn, take green out of the game, and have one additional card more than what she otherwise would have had if green had not done that. So green kind of went on a kamikaze attack against me. I guess I was frustrated because he was getting attacked from all over and decided that I would be in the crosshairs of his attack. So now yellow starting off with 16 troops, and looks like she'll easily consume green, take over green's card. And now has 4 cards, so she will have a match in the next turn. So this is going to be a bit tricky to try to contend with yellow at this point. Now orange is next. Let's see if orange will hit yellow up in at least Asia. Orange plants in North Africa, shoots up into Western Europe, rests his dice and does not tamper with yellow. Now, in my opinion, I think orange is playing it way too safe there. And I'd like to see more involvement from orange. If orange and I are ever going to try to take yellow out of this game, we got to do so in partnership. So I hold on in North America, which means I'm starting off with at least 8 troops. I'm going to try to use my investment wisely. One is I want to expose orange's heavy 45 force in Brazil. And that's to send a signal to orange to please come out and play the game. And now let's co-attack yellow, because that's the only way him and I have a shot. Sometimes what I notice in this game is people play it too safe and they don't want to attack anybody. Well, you can't play the game of Risk that way, and you really can't play the game of Life that way either. You've got to play the game. So I'm inviting orange to come play the game. I exposed orange's 45 in Brazil, and now let's co-attack yellow. Notice how I put my full force up here in Kamchatka, figuring that it's going to be hard for yellow to attack me up there. But I will be attacked in North America, for sure. I kind of invite that. I want orange to see yellow gain to tempt orange to also attack into yellow. Now yellow is coming down, could attack also orange in South America. I hope that she does, because that way it'll rattle orange's bee's cage. And that'll prompt orange to want to attack yellow. Let's see if yellow does it. Ooh, and yellow does. So yellow adds that extra stinger by attacking both into me and orange. So what that's going to do, it likely will create now 2 enemies for yellow. And I thought that was a mistake on yellow. If I would have advised her, I would have advised her to not have attacked orange. Why create 2 enemies? Now, both orange and my troop levels are enough to at least contend with yellow. So I have another turn in. And I'm simply going to put it all in Kamchatka. Now notice this. I'm not going to attack anymore. I have only 1 card. And the reason for that is because I want to see more action out of orange. I don't feel like orange is doing enough against yellow. So if orange is not going to make any significant moves to attack yellow, then I'm not going to either. So I have to try to balance things out. I have to balance out that political action among the 3 of us. And the only way to really do that is you have to judge the flows of others and the motivating force behind others. It seems like all orange wants to do is plop in South America and Africa at this point. The only way I can urge orange to attack against yellow is to make yellow a common enemy. So notice how yellow just took over Europe, for instance. Well, orange has more of an incentive to attack into yellow than I do. So now let orange attack into yellow. Let orange be the bad guy. Just like in life, you don't want to just be the bad guy and be somebody's focal point. Sometimes it's good to strike, but other times it's good to just sit still like I am. And the only reason why I'm doing it right now is to balance the game out more. I only have 44 troops. Orange has more troops than I do, but yellow has the most of all. And actually more than doubles the troop level of me and orange. So I have to find some way of trying to limit yellow and incite action from orange. So notice how yellow attacked into orange's Africa, for instance. That's creating tension between yellow and orange. Sooner or later, that's going to have an effect. Orange reclaims Africa, strikes even further up into Europe. Furthermore, all the way north up into Scandinavia. And now look at this. Orange is the one now who acquired Europe. And now, what do? I'm just going to simply sit still. Because yellow is known for attacking into the central region, and I have a feeling she'll continue to do so. Now, CS5 cards will turn in a match, as he's planting there in Middle East, indicating that he's going to rip through some orange here. Now has heavy 19 in Middle East. Strikes up, only losing one troop in the blow into Ukraine. And nice strike by yellow. Yellow's gonna, of course, strike into orange's Africa. Striking all around Africa. And every strike against orange makes orange even more mad. Now orange will reclaim Africa, looks like. And maybe even go even more beyond, reacquiring Europe. And then, if I was orange, I would hit Middle East. And then balance out the troops and create a strong wall for yellow to come across. Didn't do that in this case though. And I'm just going to simply take an easy strike. I feel like now is a good time to start gaining cards. I've seen enough conflict between yellow and orange. I see the tension going on. I feel like both now are so focused on each other at this point that I is kind of the third wheel to this all. And I'm rather outside of either's radar. So now's a good time to start gaining cards again. Getting matches and kind of keeping up with the Joneses in terms of troop level. Okay, so you saw that yellow struck into orange again. So tensions are brewing between orange and yellow. This time orange turns in a match. Orange is going to reacquire Europe. And now striking in the Middle East. Let's see if he'll now split forces and create that wall I was talking about earlier. Now orange has to be careful not to put, I was going to say, because yellow has that heavy 17 in India. And yellow's known for taking erratic strikes, so orange better have put enough there, almost doubling. It does double yellow 17, so that was smart to do if you're orange. I'm going to take yellow out of North America completely now, and that's to create even more tension. Now it's not going to be easy for yellow to even strike orange from North America. That's going to limit yellow's options to strike from any other place other than here in Asia. Now look at this. Yellow again is going to try a risky shot into the Middle East. First striking from Afghanistan, didn't get anywhere there. Now disadvantaged. However, does get a good blow in the orange and even into Africa. It does not hit orange up in Europe. So that's a huge blow on orange there. Now orange should be able to at least reacquire Africa, go back into Middle East, and this time hold on to that wall. So now I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to try to capitalize on this tension between orange and yellow. I'm going to do that by exposing yellow's 86 in Siam, because I want yellow to go into orange. And as you know by the rules of this game, you can't attack over a territory you already own. So I had to clear up, I had to take yellow out of India and China in order to free up yellow's 86. So I'm hoping what that does for me is yellow's going to get mad and eventually go into orange. This time, however, yellow does not seem to be interested in striking an orange, at least this round. Now has a heavy 90 in Siam. What I'm hoping is all that weight gets put to good use against my other opponent, orange. See how orange is planting heavy weight in the Middle East? That's only gonna cause even more of a threat to yellow. So while the tensions are brewing between orange and yellow, I'm going to quietly take over North America again and hope to hold on to it this time. Orange is protecting me from yellow from the central, and yellow would have to come across and hit orange up pretty hard in the central in order to come into me, and I invite that. So notice how I did not protect myself at all in Greenland. Maybe that'll tempt yellow to come across. Ooh, yellow is striking in India. And does hit orange again in the Middle East with a good shot and blows out orange even further in Ukraine. So yellow's taking out some major forces of orange there. And yeah, it did hit me up in North America, but look how much weight orange had to expend in that pursuit. And now yellow could take orange out of the game here. It has enough weight to do so. I'm kind of pinned in Alaska. Notice how I can't move my 59 immediately. So while I'm pinned down, yellow could take orange out, but yellow's going into Africa, leaving orange's forces in South America. So now yellow's not going to be able to do it. Yellow cannot take out orange. I'm stuck, so I can't take out orange. Now, orange gets a match. How ironic. That could have been yellow's cards to turn a match in with. But because yellow did not take out orange, orange was able to turn in that match. That was kind of a bad pursuit by yellow there. Now see, cause yourself more risk in the game by not taking orange out. Because as you can see, orange is striking out more yellow than me. Orange did expose my heavy 59 in Alaska, so that was great. Orange just went on a yellow rampage with even further and struck yellow out of Greenland, and also exposing my heavy force in Alaska. Now I can strike out into Asia with my really heavy force of 60. And now look at this, now I'm the heaviest in the game, because of all that tension that paid off for me between orange and yellow. Now yellow has enough to come over to orange, get a revenge on orange by striking orange in Europe, not taking that heavy 42 out just yet out of Siam. At this point, I'm more worried about yellow than orange. Orange only has 25 troops, but yellow has 62, so me and yellow are practically tied in this game so far. Now I have the card advantage over yellow, and that's a good advantage to have, because what that means is I'll likely get a match before yellow in the game. But notice how I have 60 in Kamchatka, now 63, and yellow has 46 in Siam, so I'm thinking now is the time to take yellow out of Siam. Hit that big force now early. I get a good strike, and now I'm finally able to penetrate into Australia, which is normally a very hard continent to penetrate, because it's usually protected by very heavy forces like it was with yellow there. So I figured now's the best time to strike into yellow while orange is thinned out. And now I'm just going to take yellow out of Australia, and that way I have a good position in the game. Okay, now yellow goes next. Yellow invests in Ukraine and goes down and tries to strike orange out of North Africa, but fails. So now orange starts his turn off with 12 troops. So now orange is the heaviest in the game. So will orange take yellow out of the game? Well, yellow is pretty sprawled. I don't think we'll be able to do so this round. But orange does take yellow out of North America at least. Now yellow is pretty contained over here in the central part of the map, but does have a couple territories in northern Asia, here in Japan and Irkutsk. Now, I'm in good position to take yellow out of the game. This is going to be a little tricky for me to take yellow out of these Asian territories. So I'm going to have to get kind of lucky here and take yellow out there. If so, then I should easily be able to take yellow out of the remaining part of the map. It's a bit risky there. I do have a match, but I'm going to try to save it for when I do take yellow out of the game. If I can, then I'll have all of yellow's cards to turn in another match with and gain more troops that way. Here we go, folks. Ooh, I get yellow easily out of Japan, and now I only have 3 troops, and I get yellow out of Irkutsk. So I was kind of lucky there. That was a critical point to the game, folks. If I would have failed there, orange would have won. But I had just enough leverage to do so, and now I got yellow out of the game, gain her cards. I have 7 cards, have enough for another match, so I'll turn that in. And now with all this force, I'm going to try to choose the bonus territory that will give me the best position, which is Southern Europe. Now I have 8 in Southern Europe, and on top of that, 10 more to make it 18. And now I'm going to start hunting for orange. And look at all those cheap territories for me to take. And I should be able to have enough weight to take orange out of Africa and South America, and also hit orange into North America. And I do. So, now orange has 3 cards, 17 territories to my 31 troops and 25 territories. I have the card advantage over orange now for taking yellow out of the game. I'm in pretty good shape here. Yeah, I have the ultimate advantage. If orange does not have a match here, then the game is pretty much mine next round. So orange is offline now, turned into a bot, gave up the game after seeing me take yellow out of the game, and then I had enough force to basically cut orange through the belly, through Africa, and through South America, and into North America. Orange didn't have a match after that, so orange thought of it useless to continue any further. And now, folks, it's time for the fire to roam around freely to take orange out of the remaining part of the map. Trying to leave enough weight in Asia to take orange out there. I strike orange while in Western Europe, out of Northern Europe, into Scandinavia. And I'm doing well so far to take over Europe, and I do. Now the question is, do I have enough to take orange out of North America? I may have just enough to do it if I use my troops wisely. So now I'm attacking from Central America. Look at this, folks. I may have just enough to do it. It's going to be critical here to get orange out of Alaska, and I do. And now I have just enough to take orange out of Asia. Thank you for tuning in to this, everyone. And until next time, keep that fire burning. Thanks again for tuning in. In addition to being a risk enthusiast, I'm also a life coach. Contact me via email if you'd like to learn more how the risk-winning strategies you saw in this game can be of benefit to you.